G'day guys, welcome back to the channel, and welcome back for another episode of Wasteland Survival. So, in between last week's episode and this week's episode, I have been a little bit busy around the base. So I finally got around to a task that I have been meaning to get to for a very long time, and that is putting sensors on all of the doors throughout the entire base. So that means all of these doors to these rooms. These doors, I believe, already had sensors in them. And yeah, basically every single door in the entire base. I've done a few other things as well, but I'll show you those in a minute. The last thing I need to do, or would like to do, and have been meaning to get around to doing, is getting rid of all these small cargo containers that are just kind of scattered, yeah, ad hoc throughout the entire base. I will admit though that having so many of these things just lying around the place is actually quite handy. So yeah, there is that. Anyway, let's head on into the train station and get that finished. Alright, so we have made it down to the depths of the train station. Alright, so one thing I've done with this blueprint is I've actually gone ahead and removed this what would I call it? Kind of like a template for the missile silo. I've gone ahead and I've actually removed that because, yeah, I don't really need it. And what I want to do is I want to get build and repair to finish all of the unfinished blocks. And if I get it to build that, then it's going to build them in the voxels, and I'm going to have to drill out the voxels to get rid of them. So, or I guess I could just set the build and repair to grind them, I guess, but yeah. I'd just rather not have them there anyway, so I'll remove that from the blueprint. Anyway, so another thing that I've been messing with is trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to do with the conveyor system that runs across these, because I'm probably going to need to get fuel from my base all the way to the silo, so I'm going to need to run some sort of a conveyor system. Now, one thing I had thought about was actually using these things here, but using them underneath the floor here. And they don't actually look too bad. The only thing I didn't like was this overabundance of yellow. So it just kind of clashed with everything else and it didn't look right. I guess maybe if I had some yellow somewhere else, it might have worked, but yeah, the yellow just kind of clashed. So yeah, that didn't really work. The second option I had was to basically run a pipe on either side from this point, and you know, it would actually clear it quite well, because as you can see, the side of the train needs to clear this point, so it can't be any wider than this. So if I was to put the pipe there, then it would actually fit. But the only problem is, number one, I've got these lights in the way, so I can't do it anyway. And number two, I would need to run two pipes, or just have like one pipe on one side, which would just kind of look silly. So I can't really do that option either. Second option is third option. I can hang a pipe down from the roof, run it all the way down here, and then hook it up on the other side. The only problem is, that doesn't really look that great either. I did try it and it just looked weird, especially going over these points here. And in fact, I need to... I didn't realize I missed these parts. I need to grind that back and fix that. Anyway, yeah, so having a pipe run across this beam just does not look right, so I can't really do that either. So honestly, I think the only option I have for running this conveyor system is going to be to like completely run it out of sight. So yeah, I'm probably just gonna leave it completely hidden, which is a shame. I would like it to be exposed, but yeah, I just can't really think of a way to make it look good. But I don't know, maybe I will, and then we can, yeah, do something around that. Alright, so what I would like to do next is get build and repair to finish off this station. But before I do that, I actually need to go ahead and drill out these hallways and weld those up. Now, I would actually like to do these by hand, at least the drilling, because if you guys remember in the blueprint, the roof for the staircase is made of glass. And because it's made of glass, I would actually like the roof to be relatively perfect. So yeah, the only option I've got is to kind of drill that out by hand. So I'm going to have to drill out at least the roof by hand. Well, basically everything really, because I can't get a mining chip in there. So yeah, let's get started with the drilling. Okay, so here we go. I've got 2 of these hallways done. I kind of stopped at these 2 because I don't really have a cargo system to go down to the other end to get the other 2 done. Also, you know, these stairwells, they're pretty simple things to build, and I don't really want to time-lapse all 4 of them. I'll probably do the other ones off camera, and then I believe what I will end up doing is filling this sled full of materials, driving that down to the other end and getting those stairwells done that way. Now also, when I was building these things, I kind of noticed that some of these sci-fi interior walls are actually upside down. So if we have a look at this one, we can see this one's upside down, and I could have sworn that I swapped these doors around, like I made them go up, but yeah, I don't know, obviously I didn't. I would like to change this block here, maybe some sort of transition between this block and this block. So I'd like to change that. You can see these ones here are upside down, so I need to fix that as well. So yeah, that's a bit of a shame. I thought I'd gone around and actually fixed all that stuff, but yeah, it turns out I haven't. So I'm going to modify the blueprint to do that. Also, down the other end, you can kind of see what I've done. I've tried to put like an interesting structure on the end of this room, and I may actually put another room on the end of this, but I guess I'm not going to talk much more about that because I really need to see how my computer goes with all of this stuff. And if it actually works out well, then I can build more onto this base. But we'll just have to see how we go. So, alright, I'm going to fill this sled with materials, get those other stairwells built. While I'm at it, I think... Actually, you know what? Before I do that, I should probably modify and fix the blueprint first, then build the stairwells, and then fix these stairwells, and then we can finally get on to actually getting something else done. Alright, so I've gone ahead and I've completed both of these hallways here. Well, I guess with exception to the door. But yeah, everything is completed. I forgot to modify the blueprint on these corners with these blocks here. So yeah, I kind of just added those in. I can't remember if I mentioned this before, but I wanted to switch the windows around to have the tinted side on the inside. So I've done that as well. And so, yeah, I think everything is looking pretty good. The only thing was, I believe it was these blocks down here were actually upside down. So I need to update the blueprint for those blocks there as well. But everything else was pretty good. And I just realized I need to get rid of those voxels there, but that's all right. I'll fix that later. But yeah, no, everything is now complete. You can also see that this wall here, I've gone ahead and I've added a pillar to it. So we'll go ahead and we'll weld this one up as well. But yeah, as you can see, there's quite a bit of free space behind this. So, I don't know, at some point maybe we'll put something behind there. So, yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. Okay, so the next thing I would like to do is get build and repair up and running. So the thing with build and repair is that it has a range of about 150 meters. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this point from about here to the same point over the other side is about 62 blocks or something like that, which is almost around about 150 meters. I think it's a bit more, a bit less, I can't remember. So I believe if I just put the build and repairs here and push out the distance right to the end, then they should get to right to the end here. Obviously, I'm going to weld this part up by hand though. I'm just going to use build and repair to do the things that I can't get to, like say the blocks behind here. Obviously, I've done these ones though, but yeah, these ones here. So I want it to get those and then some blocks underneath that I just cannot get to. So, alright, first we'll get this welded up, then we can go ahead and get the build and repair set up and get everything in this place welded up. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention. So, I can't remember if I actually modified this door or not. I could have sworn that I did modify this door on camera at the end of last episode. And I honestly can't remember if I did or not. But anyway, I modified it again. So I changed this shape here to go inwards. And then I just changed this bit up here a little bit so that it wasn't quite the same angle as this. It was kind of... So as you can see, the contour here and here kind of follows the roof here. So I think it better matches this door. So yeah, and I need to get to finishing this room as well. That also brings me to another thing. So if we have a look down into this hallway, and I believe I mentioned this at the end of the last episode, I was worried about this kind of encroaching on this hallway here. And as you can see up there, that room there is actually encroaching on this hallway. So I'm hoping I can get away with that room on the other side being one block further out, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Best case scenario, what I'll have to do is get rid of these windows up here, or at least this window here. Worst case scenario, I have to get rid of this hallway entirely to get this thing to work. But I really don't want to do that if I can kind of help it. Alright, anyway, let's get this welded up. So that is at least this side done. Whoops, I forgot that light. So yeah, I think it looks pretty good with that thing on the end. Obviously, if I do decide to put a room there at some later stage, then I can just kind of grind that away. Oh, I just realized I need to weld these up. That's alright, I'll get those later. Or the build and repair wheel block there that I missed as well. Bit of voxel showing through. There's a lot of things to fix up. Anyway, I forgot about this before, but I also changed these blocks behind here in the blueprint to these interior walls, because I think it just looks a little bit nicer. Yeah, kind of meeting up with those blocks there. And I also realized that I missed this block here too. I also went ahead and changed the color of these as well. No, I missed that in the blueprint. So you can see that I've changed these to the dark gray color, whereas they used to be the light gray. And as you can see, I need to change this one here as well. And did I change this one? Yeah, this one's right. Yeah, so still a little bit of work needed on the blueprint. So might be a little while before I actually release that on the workshop. Okay, so now that we've got this wall done, the majority of the stuff done, I think finally it's time to sort this build and repair out. Once the build and repair is done, then we can start making some headway onto this hallway here, and we can get that sorted out. So I think honestly, for the build and repair system, I'm gonna probably want more than one of them. I think one of them will just take way too long. And in fact, what I would like to know is how many blocks I have left over to weld. So let's take a look here. Station projector. So we've got 900 armor blocks remaining. 124 light armor panels. Yeah, that's not really that surprising. 2 batteries. I don't really want those welded up, to be honest. I should probably remove those from the blueprint, or put something in the way so that they don't get welded up. Alright, so yeah, we've got about 1100 blocks remaining, something like that. So yeah, if I use one build and repair system, I think it's going to take way too long. Let's grab the materials for a build and repair system, at least one of them for now. Actually, first I will get rid of this connector here. Okay, now that the connector's gone, I think just to play it safe, I'll probably go ahead and add in some conveyor tubes. I don't know why it's chosen small grid though. Just so that I can kind of space out the build and repair system a little bit. And do you notice how when I'm placing conveyor tubes nowadays, the game kind of slows down every time I place one? Yeah, I think, guys, we are getting to the limits of what the game engine and my computer is capable of. So yeah, that's a bit of a shame, but we'll see how far we can push it. Okay, so let's find a build and repair, and I'll probably put down like maybe at least 5, I reckon. Okay, so I've got all 5 of these bobs, laid out, welded up. So I've gone ahead and I've already renamed these to Station Bob 1 through 5. Now what I'm going to do is start setting these things up. So somewhere here I can actually make it visible where I can show the range of this thing. I'm just trying to find out where that is. Here we go. So down the bottom here, we just click show area, and then we can see the area of this thing. So now if we open up the spectator camera, then we should be able to see it. Although I'll probably need to exit out of this menu. What is my spectator camera doing all the way up here? Wow, that's interesting. Oh, okay, yep. So that's that. Whoa. What the? That is very interesting. Oh. Okay. So, I think I've made a really big mistake here. So, I totally forgot about the fact that the width of these things is actually the entire width. So this 150 meters is actually 75 meters in either direction. So I more or less need to run these things to probably about this point, or like right in the middle, to get them to go to the other side. So, okay, change of plans. I think what I'm going to have to do is put the build and repair systems on this sled. That's going to be the only way I'm going to get this thing to work. And then just load all the components onto this, and then just, you know, edge it forward, let it complete one section at a time like we've done with everything else. Okay, so now I have all the build and repair systems built. I've actually, put 6 on here this time, just so it's even. It honestly doesn't really matter too much, I guess. Alright, so let's go ahead and configure the settings for these things. Alright, so I've gone ahead and I've configured the bobs up. As you can see, there's quite a few. The distance actually isn't that great, so I may have to change, and I only just figured this out, but these things actually have an offset, so I might need to push the offset back. But I'm going to weld up this area first, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe I might even be able to get a time lapse out of this, and I just realized I am almost out of hydrogen. At least I'll get this section done while it's still connected via the connector, because hopefully that means it can pull components from the base, even though I have loaded up this sled with a whole bunch of materials anyway. So yeah, we should be fine, but yeah, let's see how we go. Alright, and there we have it. Every single portion of this base is now done. With exception to these doors once again. Okay, alright. Well, I guess, yeah, everything else other than that is done. These build and repairs actually worked a lot faster than what I thought they would. So, I mean, technically speaking, if I was to go ahead and close this door here, I can leave those doors open, or at least I should be able to. If I close that door and then close the door on the other side here, because if you guys remember, I've got a hole in the floor at the end of this room. So if I close this door and then I go ahead and I build an air vent, then we should be able to pressurize this room. Let's see if that is actually the case. Fantastic, and look at that. So we have pressurization. Awesome. I really didn't expect it to be that easy, and in fact, I am going to grind this thing down Because I have a feeling that... actually, you know what? I might even... I wonder if the oxygen tanks in the base are actually full or not. Because what I noticed was... And when I was messing around with the sensors on the base... if I have a look at my ice reserves, you can see my ice reserves are actually quite low. Now, I remember having a lot more ice than this, and I swear I had a stockpile of about 150,000 at some point. So I think when I was messing around with those sensors, the air vents were kind of bugging out, and when I was making the room like pressurized and unpressurized, it was just, yeah, they were just constantly streaming out oxygen. So I think I went through a boatload of ice in that exercise. So I don't really want to leave a vent in here because I'm just going to waste a boatload of ice doing so. And even though I believe I have a couple of vents on the base set to suck air into the oxygen system, I just don't think I really have that many oxygen tanks. So how many tanks do I actually have? Yeah, see, I mean, I've got a few, but I don't have heaps. So, and why is this one empty? That's strange. I wonder where that one is. It's probably not connected to anything. Oh, these would be the ones in the med room. Yep, because I never actually hooked them up. Yet again, another thing that I need to get around to doing. So, alright, we know this thing's airtight. So now we can start messing around with the hallway that leads onto the silo. Now, as I mentioned before, what I would really like to do is spread this room out by one block at least. So I'm going to get rid of all of these blocks here on the roof. So get rid of all of these. Okay, well I've got rid of about as many blocks as I can possibly carry, so I think I'm just going to dump everything on the floor over here because I really just don't have anywhere else to store it. Oh, and it looks like the build and repairs come to collect it for me. Maybe I should go ahead and turn the build and repair off. Is it this seat? No, I think it was this seat. Let's turn this thing off. Number 3. There we go. Okay, so now let's finish grinding. So I'm probably, like I said before, I want to go one block further back. So I'm going to have to dig out a little bit further. And see, this is the problem. You can see the hallway down there. And I'm probably going to have to dig... So where do I have to dig to? So my block is going to end up probably... Alright, I need to make it this color. Or I want to make it that color. So my block needs to be about there. So I need to drill out this area here. So hopefully that's kind of straight. Let's get rid of this block and put in a square block instead. Like that. And that can be the beginning of our hallway. So, now at this point, I just need to move these blocks back. So, I'm going to have to drill... I think I'm going to have to drill this out. Wait, is this too high? Yeah, it is. It is. Okay, so... my wall has to be here, actually. So, let's grind these away and then weld those blocks up. Okay, so that is pretty much where my wall is going to be. And then on top of that... I should have just left these blocks. Alright, there we go. So, now from this point, we will have our blocks that go this way, all the way along this point, and then we'll have these blocks that go up like that. And then underneath those, we'll have the same thing. So, we'll have these ones here that go that way. So we'll place those in like that. And obviously, I'm going to need to drill out a lot of this stuff. So, I honestly think... Whoa. I always get startled when I do that. No matter how many times I've done it, every time it makes me jump. Okay, let's grind this out. Let's get rid of this piece of voxel. Fix that. And then fix that there and that there. And finally, let's get rid of that piece of voxel. Alright, so Let's put in these blocks here, weld those up, and then we'll go downstairs and see how it looks from the other side. So honestly, I think from inside here that looks pretty cool, or it looks alright. But obviously from in here it doesn't really look that great. So like I said before, I think I'm going to get rid of that window. I'm going to put in some sort of blocks here on the roof. So we'll probably just put these blocks in here, except we'll make them this color. I'm going to weld these blocks though, because looks like I accidentally damaged those. I'll put in a block there, although maybe I would like to put in some blocks above. So let's get rid of these two, and then I'll put in some of these blocks here, just so it looks like there's just a wall there. So I'll put that one there and then that one there, because I'm trying to neaten this up as much as I possibly can, but I don't really have much chance to do so. So you see that hole there? I don't really want that to be visible. So we could probably cover that up with another one of these light armor blocks here, and then another one of these light armor tips, like one of these ones. Put that there, and there we go. So we have most of the window there. It's just this last section that doesn't have it. So I think that's a reasonable compromise to make things like kind of look good and be functional. So that should work out just nicely. Alright, let's go ahead and weld this roof up at least. Okay, so our roof is done. Let's move this section of the floor to the left. Okay, so I've moved that side of the room over. Only thing is I might need to taper this in a little bit. And in fact, I might even experiment with that. So let's get rid of maybe these blocks to start with, and we can try and taper this in a little bit. So I'll probably have to use this block, and then the same on the other side, but just kind of like upside down. So kind of like that. And then here I think I'd have to put a right angle block, like one of those. And let's weld this up and see how that looks. Yeah, it looks pretty good. The only problem is this kind of section here. So I really need to put in the roof and see how that tapering really looks. Yeah, see, I could do it like that to kind of miss the door, but if I really wanted to taper this properly, I might even have to make this room like longer. Alright, let's put in the roof and see how it looks from there, because I think the roof will give us a greater perspective of how this room is actually going to look. Okay, so this is pretty much our hallway. And it doesn't look too bad, if I'm being honest. I really wish the door was a little bit lower so I could taper it down there. So, although honestly, I think I should probably get this side done first before I make my judgment. I am really happy with the shape overall. Although, like I said, yeah, I should probably complete the other side before I even worry about passing judgment on this. Okay, and there we have it. So the room is now complete. Obviously, it's very dark. So yeah, I'm actually really digging this. What would I say? Aesthetic. So I think in this corner here, I'm just going to put those blocks purely because I can't find anything else that is kind of better than that. So I think in I don't know how long this hallway is going to be. I want it to be at least like decently long. So how many blocks is it at the moment? I believe it's 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll probably make this like 10 blocks long, or maybe like 9 blocks. So it's an odd number. Yeah, so I'll make it that long. and then I'll taper it on both sides, and hopefully it'll look pretty good from that point. It just is a real shame about that door. Okay, so let's put in these blocks here to kind of finish this off. And yeah, that looks really good. Okay, so I just need to do this other side the same as I've done this side, and I think that looks pretty good. So yeah, let me just quickly do that. Okay, and there we go. So now everything is pretty much symmetrical on both sides. Not pretty much, it actually is. Okay, so what I would like to do from this point is put in some lighting here. And the way I'm probably going to do that is put it underneath the floor here. So to that end, I'll probably place in some corner double lights maybe. Or maybe we could just go for some regular corner lights. Let's grab some materials for these things. Right, so let's put in these corner lights. So I think I'll probably try and go for one every other block. So one without, one with, and so on and so forth. Except I need to put in some more of these catwalks. Alright, let me put in another row of catwalks and then we can place in the next light. Alright, so that's our next set of catwalks in. Now we can put in our corner light on this edge, and we can put in another corner light here on this edge. Let's get these 4 corner lights welded up, and then we can start putting in some sort of light. So I'm going to set up the orange light, I think, on the floor first, and then we'll see how we go with that. So let's see if we can actually find these things in the menu. Alright, so it should be these ones here. Let's set these to 170. 100. Are they actually powered on? Yeah, they are powered on. Radius, I'm going to go 5 meters just to start with. We'll see how we go with that. We can always increase it. Intensity 0.8 as per normal. Offset, I'll just set that to 0 for now. Radius, I'm probably going to bump this up to, let's go for 7.5. Because I can already see in the corner of my eye it's not that great. Okay, so that's probably a bit too much. Go 6.25. Let's see how that looks. Yep, that actually looks quite decent. I would like to darken the floor though a little bit. So maybe we could change the color of it to this color here. Although I'm thinking maybe what I'll do is put some sort of a block underneath. So maybe we can put in some sort of a conveyor system here. Oh, that's gone and colored in that block. Why can't I color in these blocks? There we go. Alright, so that's all those coloured in. And then if we look at it from here, yeah, it does look a little bit better. So I think I've got to change something on this floor here. This roof is a little bit bland, so I would like to dress this up a little bit as well. Okay, so I think I'm relatively happy with the floor's colour. The thing is though, what else can we do to kind of dress it up a little bit? So I think I'm going to grind away at least all of these floor blocks, and I reckon down the center, what I'll do is probably place in some of these armored conveyor junctions. Except I just want the non-curved ones. Where's just the straight ones? Yeah, here we go. So we'll put a line of these all the way along. Although I need to get to this one to weld it up. Alright, let me grab the materials for these. There we go, that's those done. And then next to these, I think what I'll do is I'll place in some of these interior walls, but placed in that orientation. So I'll put 6 of those in, grab the materials for those, and get those welded up. Okay, awesome, there we go. So now that's done. Actually, I might even replace these 2 blocks here as well with these interior walls, and then I can put something else on top of these. Do I have the materials? Nah, I don't. Wait, do I? Yeah, or actually I do, almost. I was pretty close. So on top of these we could do something like this. Place in perhaps some of these. No, not those ones, the other ones. Yeah, these tips here. Place in some of these, get these welded up, and then see how everything looks. Okay, so yeah, I think that looks definitely a lot more interesting than it did before. So, okay, that's one step. The other thing is I would like to maybe change the roof as well. So, what I was kind of thinking was, let me put my lights on here. I was kind of thinking of grabbing some of these blocks here and making sort of a part that goes downwards, kind of like I've got in the center of the room there. I don't want to use these ones here, purely because they kind of meet up here and there's like a corner, so I don't really want that. So yeah, we could put those. I was just thinking, can I actually place some lights? But yes, I can actually do that. Alright, so let's place in some of these blocks and see what it looks like. So what we'll do is I'll grab this one and then we'll spin it around. I'll place 2 of these here, and then I'll probably go for a tip. So maybe like a tip like this, a pointy one. I won't go for the blunt one because I think that'll just look a bit weird. And then here we'll just place one of these, and then in the center here what we can do is just put in some half beam blocks like that. And let's weld this up and see how it looks. Alright, so that's that welded up. It doesn't actually look too bad, although I'm not sure if I really like it or not. I really need to drill out this room further to see how this stuff kind of looks. The only problem is it is kind of low, and then on top of that I'm gonna need to put some lights somewhere on the roof, and I can't attach them here because these are half blocks. So even though it does actually look kind of alright, I'm gonna have to get rid of it because it's just not gonna work. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe for the roof we'll do something similar to what we did for the floor. So I'll get rid of all these blocks on the roof. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll place in some of these interior walls. Hopefully I've got the materials to at least place them. No, I don't. Alright, let's do that at least. Alright, so we should have enough to just place a few down. Let's place them all the way along there. Like so. And then here, I'm going to drill out this section here a bit, because I'm going to place some beam blocks in the center. But obviously behind those, I'm going to have to place some other blocks so that the room is kind of sealed. So here, we'll grab our beam blocks and we'll put some of these in. So here, I'll put an end piece, I think. So that will be a beam block end like that one. And then we'll just grab our beam block. Just a standard old beam block, like that. Alright, let's get all of this stuff welded up. Okay, so that is all of this stuff welded up. Let's see how it looks now. Yeah, that looks really nice. Okay, so now I should probably think about adding in some roof lights. So I think I'm going to add them in the same location as what these lights here are. Actually, maybe I'll do something similar to what I've done in here and offset them. So where I have a light here and a light here down below, up here I will have a light for the roof. And we'll have kind of less roof lights than we will have accent lights, if that makes sense. So then we'll place our next light. Is it there? Yeah, it shall be there. So I'll go for corner lights here because the light is kind of coming from here, which I think is a decent position. If I put interior lights, then it's going to come from about there, which I don't think is going to reach this edge. If I put them there, then the light's going to be in the center. So yeah, that's why I've chosen to place the lights there. So let's go ahead and configure these ones. Alright, well I've gone ahead and I've configured those, and you know, kind of unfortunately though, there is only 2 lights there, so it's a little bit hard to see the kind of effect that they're going to have. But you know, I think they kind of look alright. Yeah, so I do need to put a block up there though to kind of yeah, block off this behind here and make this room airtight. Now I was kind of thinking, even though I have a pipe running down through the floor, maybe what I could do as well is put in a pipe that kind of runs parallel to the room here. So even though it's completely unnecessary, we could put it in here for decoration. So we could place in one of these curvy bits. If I can actually ever get it to orientate correctly. Man, sometimes this stuff is hard. Spin that around. Place one over there as well. And we'll grab these straight pipes here like this. And we'll put those in there like that. And then it just kind of dresses the room up just that little bit more. So let's get these welded up and see how they look. Alright, so that's those welded up. So I think it actually looks pretty good. The only thing is, I wonder how this room would look if it was all dark grey. And also, like, I have detail here, I have detail on the floor, I've got my catwalks which have, you know, arguably a little bit of detail. Maybe also I could put a cutout in the center as well and just have like 2 lanes of catwalks. Don't know if that really makes sense though, but that's something to consider. But yeah, we have these smooth, boring walls. So I'm thinking maybe I pinch the skin from the walls in this hallway here, and we can try that skin out on the walls. See how the texture on these walls is just, yeah, so much more interesting than the battered armor. The only thing is though that this entire base is kind of like got that weathered look. So I really would like if they had a skin similar to the sci-fi armor skin, but basically like a battered armor version of it. So the same thing, same textures or like models, but yeah, just like a really weathered look. I reckon that would be really cool. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Alright, so let's convert this room to be dark grey. Alright, and there we have it. Everything is now dark grey. I'm really enjoying the skin. Like, look at that. That just looks awesome. Unfortunately, this side is not as interesting. Over here is quite nice. Over here is, yeah, actually really nice as well. And you can hardly even see the transitions between the blocks. Admittedly, I do actually need to change the blocks behind here. But I think I'm going to leave that for the next episode. I do plan to lengthen this thing out a bit. So yeah, anyway guys, I really hope you enjoyed this episode of Wasteland Survival. Yeah, and I hope to see you in the next episode. If you did like this episode, definitely consider leaving a like and consider subscribing, so every time I release a new episode you get a notification about it. Alright, thanks guys, and I'll see you next time.